Chatterbox TV here. I wanted to make a video detailing my thoughts on where I place Terrence Crawford as on my list of pound for pound fighters in terms of the top 10 best fighters on the planet, regardless of weight classes. So obviously on the heel of his victory over Indongo, which was very impressive, where do I rank him? Do I have him above Lomachenko? Do I have him above Andre Ward? Now, in my opinion, in a previous video that I made where I spoke about Andre Ward and him actually moving up in weight and actually potentially fighting Anthony Joshua, and where I had him in the sport based on that, I actually did say that Andre Ward, in my opinion, is definitely the number one pound for pound fighter on the planet. Now, Terrence Crawford, in my opinion, is the second pound for pound fighter on the planet, and some people might not want to hear this, but Lomachenko, in my opinion, is probably number 9 or number 10 pound for pound, or you could argue on depending on what day, I might have him just outside of the top 10 pound for pound ranking. So I'll make a separate video about why I believe Lomachenko is just outside of them top 10 ranking. Obviously a lot of people, with the media hype that's going on around Lomachenko, a lot of boxing fans might find that blasphemous, but it's just my perspective on how I rank certain fighters. So Terrence Crawford, obviously, he has beaten Indongo. He's obviously cleaned out his division and become the undisputed champion and light welterweight champion of the world. And obviously he's beaten all the champions, and he's collected every single belt. He's collected the WBC, the WBO, the IBF, and the WBA light, and obviously the Lineal Ring magazine light welterweight champion, and there's literally no one else left for him to face, and he's one of the undisputed champions that have come in quite a long time. So where do I have him ranked up here? So in my opinion, obviously I have Andre Ward as number 1 pound for pound on the planet. Obviously with his victory over Sergey Kovalev and everything that he's accomplished in the middleweight division, he has a resume that's enviable by most fighters, and in my opinion, you could argue that his resume, even if obviously Floyd is coming out of retirement to fight Conor McGregor, if he was to stack up obviously Andre Ward's victories next to Floyd's, you could make a case that he has a better resume than actually Floyd Mayweather. But on this perspective right now, just comparing Terrence Crawford with Andre Ward, I actually do have Andre Ward ahead of Terrence Crawford at this moment in time, because he's beaten legit competition over a longer period of time. He's fought 3-4 top fighters back to back. Obviously he beat Mikhail Kessler effortlessly when another Hall of Famer fighter like Joe Calzaghe had a hard fought victory against him. Obviously Andre Ward, he didn't beat him effortlessly, but he made it look effortless, in my opinion. It was a more decisive victory for Andre Ward to beat Mikhail Kessler than it was for obviously Joe Calzaghe to beat Mikhail Kessler. Now obviously Mikhail Kessler, obviously in the Super 6 tournament, Andre Ward was a bit of a dark horse when he came into that competition. Nobody actually knew a lot about him, and obviously he ended up emerging as the top fighter in that competition, beating everyone, and obviously beating Carl Froch, who was another dark horse that came into that competition. Again, nobody really thought Carl Froch was gonna Carl Froch or Andre Ward were gonna do as well as they did in that competition. And in some part, you could say the Super 6 tournament has defined both Andre Ward's and Carl Froch's legacy in the sport of boxing. Without that tournament, it's very unlikely that they would have the resume that they would have had, because they would not have fought the fights that they fought when they were in that competition. But it must be said, obviously you got to take it into perspective. Obviously after the Super 6 tournament, obviously Carl Froch did retire, and he fought George Groves obviously, and he had a rematch and he knocked him out. But Andre Ward's career is still going on, and if he does go on to obviously after that fight, he fought Sergey Kovalev and beat him, and picked up the a light heavyweight title. If he does go on to fight Adonis Stevenson and beat him, and obviously go on to fight Golovkin and beat him, then that's almost you could have him down as an legit certified all-time great already, even before he retires. But for me, for Terrence Crawford is just behind Andre Ward in terms of top three, in terms of being a top pound for pound fighter, in terms of his legitimacy on that list as being that champion. What will it take for Terrence Crawford to get into that level where he can overtake Andre Ward? I believe he'll need to beat, obviously, he'll need to go up to the welterweight division and actually beat probably Keith Thurman, beat Errol Spence, beat Jeff Horn. If you can pick up titles there against them fighters, you could make a real case for him actually being above Andre Ward in terms of talent. Now it must be said, but both in terms of pure physical talent, I actually do have I believe Terrence Crawford is a more formidable physical talent than Andre Ward, but Andre Ward just has a higher boxing IQ, and he's just a gifted fighter who comes once in a lifetime, in my opinion. Andre Ward is like a Bernard Hopkins 2.0. He has the same boxing brain that Bernard Hopkins has, but he has better athleticism to go with it. Another thing that must be said about Andre Ward is the fact that he's not lost a fight since the age of 12. I mean, just think how crazy that is. During the amateurs, you can't duck and dodge opponents. You have to fight everyone. When you're in a tournament, you're fighting the best guys. You can't duck and dodge like you can in the professional games. The fact that he's gone through that, and obviously he has his Olympic pedigree. He won an Olympic gold medal, and then on top of that, he went through the Super 6 tournament, where again you can't duck and dodge anyone. And again he came out on top as a top fighter, and then he went on to beat Sergey Kovalev, and then on the heels of all of that, he may go on to fight Adonis Stevenson, and he may fight a few other fights, and we're forgetting about his victory over Chad Dawson as well, who was a top fighter as well. I think it's legit to say that Andre Ward is ahead of Terrence Crawford at this moment in time in terms of being a top pound for pound fighter on the planet. But that being said, Terrence Crawford is still young enough to beat further legit competition and may overtake Andre Ward. And Andre Ward is he's not an old fighter, but he's a young veteran fighter. But his career, you could say, if he wanted to, he could retire right now. And if that was to happen, then in my opinion, if he does retire in the next couple of years, in 5 years' time, if Andre Ward does decide to retire, if Terrence Crawford goes on the road that he's on and he does go up to 147 and beat legit competition there, and obviously you could argue if he does get a fight against if he beats Mikey Garcia, or he fights beats Lomachenko, or if he does fight Manny Pacquiao, even though Manny Pacquiao's already lost to Jeff Horn, just having that name on his resume would further cement his status as a top pound for pound fighter. So my opinion is Andre Ward is the top pound for pound fighter on the planet right now, even despite Terrence Crawford beating Ndongo. But the fact remains that Terrence Crawford is young enough and does have a career enough time left in his career to probably overtake Andre Ward, depending on the fights that he does take, and depending on how well his the level of opposition that he beats and his resume, how much better it gets. So time will tell who will become the top pound for pound fighter on the planet. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Leave a comment below if you agree with me, disagree with me. Like this video, and obviously subscribe to my channel for more content coming your way. That is all I got to say right now. Peace out.